how to inspect an used car before you buy it. And I think this is one of the places where the most people get screwed that they could have avoided only by checking the car a little bit. Because in my experience, most of the people don't check anything on the car. They test drive it, which means they just drive it a little bit. They don't even on the test drive, they don't do the things that you're supposed to do to check it.
Right.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit. And we even have to do it because we buy a lot of vehicles from people, from particular people. So we go to their houses, and what we're gonna tell you is exactly what we do when we buy a car, what we look for, and all that. So with that, take it away. What is it?
First, I think it's valid to say that and we actually talked this before, that you can actually pay someone, a professional, to inspect the car for you. Most of the dealerships won't have any problem. They might give you a hard time if you tell them, hey, would you let me take the car somewhere else?
Right.
Not because they don't want, it's because of insurance purposes, because the cars are supposed to be here. If something happens at a repair shop away from the dealership, the insurance might give them a hard time in case something happens, like an accident or something.
I think most of the dealerships will give you a hard time for that.
Yeah.
And not only because of that, but for safety of the dealership as well. I mean,
right.
You don't want a vehicle leaving the lot somewhere that you don't know. I mean, yeah, they're going to inspect it, but you don't know. I mean, might change a part or something like that,
So you can always hire a professional inspector, like a private pre-purchase inspection. They'll go through everything and let you know what's the actual condition of the car, if there's something that you have to address soon, and I think they're pretty good. I've never done one or used one or purchased one before, but we had a couple of customers that they did.
Right.
And they come out, they get under the car, everything, and then they send the report to the customer, and then the customer is able to make a decision.
And it's because I remember one of those cases, even though they did that, then when the person came and saw the car, she wasn't really happy with the vehicle.
With the report
she got. Exactly. With the report that she got and with the vehicle. She wasn't happy with the vehicle because it had some stuff that wasn't on the report. I think that was like the paint was burned or something like that. So, even doing that, a lot of the things are based on your preferences. So, and that's because the mechanical stuff, that's obviously they should know, and they should know what's wrong, or they should be able to get close to it. But the cosmetic stuff, for some people, it might be okay. And for some people, it's like, oh, no, that's horrible. That's not good. So that's something to keep in mind. Like, if you're going to do a pre-purchase inspection, it would be good to do it, but also see the car yourself if you can.
Yeah, you have to ask specifically what they're gonna go over, know, because maybe they'll go over the fact that it has been repainted, but maybe they're not gonna tell you, or they don't look at, for example, the clear coat coming off. I don't know. Like, that's something I guess the customer can ask to the inspector, like, hey, can you tell me specifically what you're going to go over, and things that you don't go over, so they can know. So that's one of the options, obviously, you know. Then the other option is obviously doing the inspection yourself.
Right.
The first thing, I guess, do a walk around of the car, just walk around the car and see Any major damages, cosmetic damages, if you see the car like sitting not level, that's always that's a people don't think about it, but
Right.
if it's tilting towards the right or left, there might be a problem with the tires. One of the tires is low, or a problem with the suspension. Just do a walk around. That also will give you a pretty good idea if any of the panels have been repainted. Take your sunglasses off, and most of the time they'll give you a pretty good idea. You'll see the difference on paint or finishes and all that. Just do a quick walk around and see the overall condition of the car.
Right.
Scratches, dents and stuff like that.
Yeah, like cosmetic stuff on the actual body.
Then I will go into the look at the tires, all 4 tires. Don't look at just one, okay? Because most of the time they wear out uneven, depending on the condition of the suspension and alignment. And maybe the previous owner changed the 2 front tires but kept the original tire, rear tire. So
or even one.
Or even just
tire went out.
Yeah.
And they changed just that one. So you have one new, one that is not so new.
Yeah. So check all 4 tires and see the condition, how much tread they have left, and also see the condition of the tire, the material itself, if it's dry rotted or if it's in good condition, because it could be a possibility that it's got a lot of tread, but the tire is just old, and it's gonna come
dry.
apart.
And you're gonna see that. I mean, you see the rubber.
Cracks.
It's really dry, so yeah, you can tell that
You'll
it's
see
a
some
really
cracks.
old tire.
Yeah.
Even though it might have a lot of tread.
Right. Then, it doesn't have to be in any specific order, but one thing that I would recommend is try to get underneath the car, or even just look at the ground where the car has been sitting. Dealerships don't tend to move the cars a lot. So technically, if it's got any leak, it's gonna have some marks, stains on the ground.
Right.
That's a possibility.
But you couldn't really for sure say, oh, it's that car, because it's a dealership. It could.
But then it will
an
give you an
car.
indication. Oh, let me get under.
Yeah.
And,
I think the best.
and try to see.
I think what you should do, no matter what, is try to get under the car. I mean, you're going to the dealership. You're gonna buy a car. Go prepare that. I mean, it's not like, oh, you're gonna get oily or anything like that. You're just gonna really try to get under, and what you're gonna look for is for oil.
Right.
For oil, for
moisture,
any leaks.
Moisture, yeah.
Anything like that.
So also you can take a look at the suspension, by getting under the car, rust on the frame and all that. And also get a better looking at the tires as well, because maybe the outside lip of the tire looks great, but then the inside lip is all worn out, and maybe the tire is coming apart. So
yeah, you can see the brakes, the actual calipers.
Yeah, so that's always a good idea of getting under the engine area to see if you see any moisture, oil, or any fluids, and any indication of any problem.
Right.
Then
it's we're talking about used cars, so it's gonna be an used car is not gonna have like super clean hoses and everything. It's crystal clean and stuff like that. So don't think that if you see something like a little darker or something like that, or it's leaking or something like that, what you're looking for is for actual like fluid coming out of where two where the hose goes into one part, those are the points where you will see a leak, or maybe in the middle of a hose there's
the
a
oil pan too.
right. So actual fluid, it's what you're looking for, not just like dirt, like dirty stuff.
Right. Then, one thing a lot of people take for granted is look at the timing belt also, because that's I think it's made out of rubber. I don't know. Obviously, it's a mixture of materials, but that the same as the tires. After a while, they start getting cracked. They get cracked, and that's when you have to replace them. And trust me, you don't want to be driving a car that the timing belt snaps, because it can cause a big damage. Even though in most of the engine it's not a big repair, it's something that it can cause a very big problem with the engine if it comes apart.
Right.
And something that you have to change regularly. It's a maintenance item, that you have to take care of. That's another thing, that you have to look at, and that's very simple. You see the belt, the serpent, the timing belt.
Yeah.
You'll see it. Most of the time, you'll see it pretty easily. Depending
it's like
on
a
the
rubber
engine.
material as well.
What else? What do you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I would say doing that, and I know it probably sounds like a lot to you guys, to people, but it really isn't like you're getting all greasy. You're pretty much a mechanic down there. It's not really like that. You're actually just looking. You're looking, trying to find something wrong with it. I would say you actually take the car and drive it, because it could be needing driving for something to happen. So if you want to see oil leaks or anything, maybe driving it a little bit will actually show something of that. So I would say after you test drive it, checking it again.
Check it again.
Yeah, checking same process under everything, but again after you drive it, because everything is warm. And
check for abnormal noises. It's very common. Every engine will have a very unique sound to it. Like you can tell, like if you hear a Volkswagen engine compared to like a Mazda engine or a Lexus engine, they all have different noises, regular noises.
Right.
But then if you hear something abnormal or something very loud, like a knocking noise or like a very loud ticking noise, that's something, try to find out where the noise is coming from and see what's causing, the noise. Maybe there's a part that is going out or something, to really be careful.
Yeah. And I guess if you're in the position that you know what you're looking for, the car that you're looking for, or you have 1, 2, 3 cars that those are the cars that you want, it's pretty easy to find information about those cars, about what you really have to look for on those cars. For example, the F-150s, we know the knocking noise on the engines is pretty common and stuff like that. When we're buying a Volkswagen, we know we have to check the compressor for the AC, because they all go bad. We have to check the headliner because they all go bad. So every vehicle has like their stuff that you can find online information about it.
Remember, these cars are mass produced with the same part, and so the problems are gonna be very common in most of the cars. Like he's saying, the Volkswagen, the Jettas or the Passat, depending on the year, it's very common that the AC compressor will go out. So that's something that you can look for if you're buying that specific car. Every single model, man, it has a very common problem.
The Chevy Cruze Turbo,
don't buy
it.
Don't buy it. Put a different engine in. Yeah. So the Chevy Cruze, the Turbo, man, it's got a lot of problems, a lot of leaks. The turbo goes out. It's a horrible engine. It's a beautiful car, but it's probably one of the worst engine that Chevrolet
Yeah.
ever made. That's one of the cars that we'll stay away from
Yeah.
unless it's a non-turbo engine, and maybe, you know what I mean. Um,
On Mazdas, you have to pay attention to the regulators of the
oh yeah,
windows because
the
they go
CX9, the
bad.
CX9, and the CX7, the
Right.
regulator, the motor windows.
So it's things that, of course, we learn it because we've been buying cars for a while. But if you go online, you will find
You'll
out.
see,
Yeah,
yeah.
you'll see what goes wrong on each car. So that's something that you could do if you already know the cars that you're getting. You could do that, and once you get to the dealership, you can already check those
Right.
things.
Also, pop the engine, pop the hood, and just look at the engine, look at the gasket, around the gaskets, around the seals, and see if you see any moisture, any oil, any fluids. Just look at on the side of the engine, front cover, all that. The battery, if it's got any corrosion. Check how old the battery is. That's usually they'll have a sticker
Right.
of the month and year they installed the battery, so you can tell how old the battery is. Also, check the oil. Open the oil cap and see, try to see anything. Anything
Right.
abnormal.
I mean, you could just check the oil color.
The oil stick,
How much oil it has on the stick. It has markers, so you could check how
and the
much it
condition.
has, and if it's like the oil shouldn't be like super dark, super black. It should be something clearer
Oil,
than
yeah.
that.
Fresh oil. It shouldn't be milky. If it's milky, it's because it's got a blown head gasket. Water's getting through. If it's dark, it's because the oil is burnt. It's got old,
Yeah. Old.
old oil or sludge. That's a big problem. If you see any sludge oiled, then just I think it's common sense. Honestly, like check all
I
the
mean,
basics.
it's common sense, but a lot of people don't know.
Right.
Because, like, for example, even when we're checking cars, you will see things that I don't see because you know more. So that's why I'm trying. I'm trying just to get a few stuff because I know it. I'm trying to do it for people that actually don't know
Right.
what to look for.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, when you're inside the car, things that you probably wouldn't normally check, but that if you don't, it's gonna cost you a lot of money, like the window regulators.
All the windows, all the door locks. Make sure they lock and unlock. Check the radio, the lights. What else? Man, the sunroof. If it's got a
sunroof.
make sure it opens and closes and it sits flush, so that way
Yeah.
you don't have any leaks. Check the seals, the seats. If it's got power seats, you move
They
them,
work.
adjust them, make sure they work. The horn, that's something people don't check.
No.
But usually when a horn is not working, it's because it had a problem, or that tends to be a bigger problem behind a horn not working.
Yeah, and it's expensive.
Most of the time it's related to an accident, like a module or something. But check the horn.
Or if it's the clock spring, I
The
mean
clock
that's an expensive
spring,
part.
because it's, yeah. So check the horn. It's also for safety. If you're trying to, someone it's in front of you, you wanna, blow the horn. If you don't have a horn, they're not gonna notice you. So check for the horn.
If you have any lights on the dashboard, the engine light is the one that you really want to pay attention to. There is a light that it's very common, which is the tire pressure light. Used dealerships, I mean, in some cases you don't fix that because it's a sensor that it just tells you if the tire is low on pressure or if it's high. But you should know which one it is, what the symbol is of that light, so you don't confuse it with, because it's, I mean, if I see a car that has the tire pressure sensor light, okay, it's not a big deal. But if it's an engine light, that's a different thing. So knowing those differences, and if it's an engine light, asking and finding out, I mean, that could be something very stupid, or it could be something really wrong.
Right.
But you have no way of knowing.
You don't know. Then, another valid question to ask a dealership if the car has had any accident, so you can check and see, how good they repair the car. Check for the body lines, make sure they're all straight. Because depending on who did the work, they could have installed something wrong. Right. Or missing parts, that people don't notice. Like a Mustang we bought the other day, it had a couple of missing parts, and I told the customer, the owner, and she's like, "Oh man, I didn't even realize." It was missing a front grille, the bottom, and a headlight was broken. The tabs, she's like, "Oh, I didn't even know. I bought it like that." I'm like, "Well, now you know, so I'm gonna pay you this much."
Yeah.
But all those things, very little, like you said, some people notice them, some people don't, but that's why the reason why we want to do this. If it's got a convertible top, make sure it opens and closes, and it's a big deal, especially in older cars. Make sure that it seals properly for no leaks. Make sure the material is good as well. Make sure that it opens and closes fine.
That opens and closes, because you could see a vehicle that has one of those stops, and it opens fine, but then closing has like struggles or the other way around. So you want to make sure, do it a couple of times, and make sure that it's smooth, that it does it properly. I think when you're driving the car, what you should be paying attention to is, I wouldn't pay much attention to the radio when you're driving the car. Yeah. I think the radio, you should check it when you're in the dealership, not while you're driving. I
usually turn everything off.
Right.
The radio and the AC as well.
Yeah, me too.
To just try to try to hear noises or feel something abnormal, like a weird shifting, or check for the suspension vibrations, weird stuff that it's not normal.
Transmission wise, you want to check the transmission, like with a little bit of gas from the beginning, and maybe try braking and checking the brakes as well in that moment.
Go through the gears on the transmission, because you don't do anything checking just first and second gear. Try to get it to third or fourth gear on different speeds, like low speed, high speed, like very all the way to the floor. Put on reverse, drive reverse, and see if it does anything weird.
And check also not the automatic gears, but the actual gears in the car. Most cars have D, and they have like 3, 2, and L. Check those as well to see if they work. If it has a 4x4, you want to check the 4x4 that it's working, and low. Then everything works properly. On a 4x4, the turn is not gonna be, when you're engaged on 4x4, the turning is gonna be very stiff. So something that you should know. Yeah, stuff like that.
Take your time. That's the main thing. Take your time. Don't rush it.
If you can, what we talked at the beginning. First, if you don't have anyone, then you could possibly think about paying someone to do the inspection. Someone that actually knows about it.
A professional.
If not, try to take someone with you. If I was in the position that I didn't know anything about how to check a car or something like that, I probably wouldn't go alone to buy a used car. I would probably try to take a friend that knows a little bit more about cars, or someone that knows a little bit more than me. That would be the ideal. If not, then try to learn a little bit
Right.
about that before you go and check it.
Yeah, I usually, man, open everything. Open the hood, all the doors, open and close everything, open the trunk, everything, and see,
Right.
if you notice anything weird. I touch every single button,
Yeah.
like open every single window.
You don't have to feel any sort
Yeah.
of pressure from the salesman or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're thinking about buying the car, so you want to check it.
Ask questions too, like what do you guys do to it? Do you know anything about the car? Thankfully we buy cars from the previous owners, so we ask the owner to tell us a little bit about the car, and we know most of the time they tell us, "Oh, I put a this and that. It's got that." Brand new tires, brand new compressor, whatever. So we pass that along to our customers, and it's just better at the end of the day. So you're more than welcome to ask the dealership if they know anything about the car. If the car is bought at the auction, most likely they're not gonna know anything about the car,
Right.
but high probability is that they already checked it out. So they'll know if they did anything to the car, the dealership itself. So they'll tell you, oh, with brand new oil filter, we service the transmission, we flush the coolant, a new alternator, whatever. So you're more than welcome to ask, because most of the dealerships, they'll recondition the car before they sell it. So you can ask them, like, what do you guys do to it? So you can also,
I think you should.
not to just make sure the car is in good condition, so you can also know what you can expect in the future that you'll have to do to the car. Because I remember we talked this before. A customer, he bought a truck, and he asked me, like, hey, when was the last time a tune-up was done? And we didn't do the tune-up. It was, the engine was fine. It didn't need spark plugs or anything. But on the Carfax, it showed a tune-up not long ago. So, we were able to find it and say, oh, I'm good for a while. So that's just for knowledge. So they know, they get to know the vehicle a little bit better.
Yeah, you're prepared for what should be coming. If you, that's why I say you should. It's not a thing that you could ask. I think you should ask the dealership what they have done. If they did recondition the car, what is it that they did? Because reconditioning is different for every car.
Right.
We get the cars, we send them to inspection, and it's different for every car. Some cars need a little bit. Some cars need a little bit more. Some cars need brakes. Some cars need tires. So you can ask that. Are you guys able to tell me what you guys did on the car? And maybe it has fresh brake pads, or it has new tires, or fresh oil. That every car should have fresh oil, I think, if you're selling it. But yeah, stuff like that. They might tell you, yeah, we just fixed the, I don't know, we put a new timing chain on the thing. I don't know. You want to ask for stuff so you know what they did to the car. Yeah.
Right. I think that'll give you a pretty good idea on how to check a car. You're always welcome to ask us questions. The other day, man, there wasn't a lady that contacted us through Facebook. She was asking about a minivan that she was looking to buy, and we helped her.
Right.
She didn't end up buying it. I don't remember exactly why.
She said,
I think there was a problem on the Carfax or something. I don't know.
She asked us in one of our videos that we talk about the KBB, Kelly Blue Book value. And a lot of people have been commenting on that video. People just put like a car and a year. But these women actually, I think she sent us a DM asking us. So we answer her.
I'm considering buying.
Yeah, we answer her with the value that she should pay for that car. Of course, it's depending on the condition and stuff. And she went and saw the car, and she said that she didn't like the vehicle, that it was not worth something like that. So yeah.
The Carfax will also give you sometimes a good idea on how the car has been maintained.
People don't ask for that, eh?
No,
they don't ask for the Carfax.
They never do, man. But that's all we have for today. I think it's a lot of suggestion, good topic.
Yeah.
If you
the main recommendation: ask for everything, touch everything, push everything, open everything, close everything. Take your time. I mean, man, you're buying a car. That's what you're doing there. The salesman doesn't have the right to put pressure on you. I mean, you really want to make sure that you're buying something that it's good. That at least it's your knowledge that you feel good that you checked the car and that you didn't see anything weird.
Right.
But yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good night.